Hmm. Hello, everyone. I'm George from Ireland, so welcome back to the channel. And this is about the Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, David Lammy, that's of the United Kingdom, and Mr. Lammy's continual attempts to deny safety to Palestinian civilians. So the Ukraine war began on the 24th of February, 2022. Over 100,000 Ukrainian refugees in the United Kingdom, millions of Ukrainian refugees across other countries, principally European countries, and we in the Republic of Ireland taken per capita one of the highest numbers. Anyway, so 13,000 Ukrainian civilians killed in 3.5 years. That's horrific. Out of a population of 40 million. Qasem, bonjour. Whereas Gaza, which is the main conflict zones, only had a population of say 2.2 million and has already had 60,000 people killed. 60,000. The great majority of them civilians. Even Israel reckons they've only killed 13,000 Hamas fighters, which would mean, even by Israel's estimate, 47,000 are civilians. There are estimates of a death toll in Gaza up to 200,000, but I think that's a major exaggeration. But 60,000 is a very conservative figure. So the case for Palestinians to seek refuge is much stronger than for for Ukrainians. And obviously, Palestinians are taken hostage by the Israelis as well. And the Israelis say, "Oh, this was a person as a terrorist or whatever." Well, we don't know. Because anyone can be dubbed that. No trial or charge. The rare occasions there is a hearing, it's for a totally partial tribunal, and so on. Mm. So surely the grounds for Ukrainians seeking asylum apply a fortiori to Palestinians, but not if you are the foreign secretary. So we know right at the beginning he said it was permissible to cut off drinking water to Palestinians. Drinking water. It was asked on the radio, is this against the law? Well, I don't know, but you're a barrister. You're supposed to know, and if you don't know, you're grossly incompetent. I mean, you can't be foreign secretary if you just know nothing about law. It's staggering. And obviously there've been complete idiots who've been foreign secretaries as well. Margaret Thatcher, a totally uneducated woman, but Lammy can't rely on stupidity. Professor at uni, that would suit you. Well, I don't like writing in scholaries. It's just so turgid, so unreadable. It's chloroform in print. The ibids and the opposites and fussing about that, where you basically finished it, and all the pedantry around that drives me up the wall. Plus, you've got to be ultra left, you can't be in it. I'm an imperialist, and obviously there is zero tolerance for dissent. Anyway, so fortunately, the Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs lost a court case. Obviously, it's not against Mr. Lammy in his personal capacity. It's the office that he happens to hold. BEL and others against Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs. So that ruling was only 2 days ago. So the judge is Mr. Justice Chamberlain, and he found that the Foreign Secretary's refusal to provide assistance to a family of 6 Palestinians was irrational. There's Wednesbury irrationality. Nobody's applied his mind to it could have arrived at this decision. There were unfair procedure. They've got this Article 8 right under the European Convention of Human Rights, the right to family life. Now, curiously, despite Palestine not being in Europe or not being a signatory to the European Convention of Human Rights, it's applicable to them. So now, Mr. Justice Chamberlain said that the decision must be reconsidered according to law. He doesn't say the Foreign Secretary has to make the opposite decision, but he has to go through the proper procedure. I mean, he could still refuse them consular assistance, but there has to be a proper reason for doing so. There are a range of irrational options open to him, but the one that the Foreign Secretary went for was irrational. Okay, so you can't have this across the board policy of never allowing Palestinians to seek asylum and never allowing family reunifications. One family member in the United Kingdom, or with 2 or 3 or more, but he or she or they cannot bring additional relatives. Anyway, so the court ruling, it doesn't mean that Palestinians can always apply for it or can never apply for it. All right. Anyway, this is a terrible, tragic case. So in 2025, there was a tribunal fact that a judge had erred in law when he gave asylum to a Palestinian family who'd applied on the Ukrainian settlement scheme. And the Ukrainian scheme was strictly only for Ukrainians, wasn't for any other nationality. Now, the prime minister at the time said this was wrong and the government would change the law. Remember this a few months ago. So anyway, this a Palestinian, an ethnic Palestinian who was an Israeli citizen in 2024, he got asylum in the United Kingdom, so that they could get this protection in some cases. So the Home Office is really in charge of visas, and they changed the decision in the light of this. So anyway, it's quite confusing. Now, there's been a lot of misreportage about this one. They misunderstand these things. They oversimplify these things. So the High Court was dealing with one issue only, and that's whether there was a right to withhold consular assistance to people applying, and you have to go through whatever consular process before you can be granted asylum, or you might be refused asylum. But it wasn't about the entitlement to asylum itself; it was about the consular assistance. So David Lammy tried to make it impossible by saying the Foreign Office not even going to engage with you. The Home Office, they issue public statements. Their response, they're trying to close loopholes as to make sure that Palestinians can't get in that way. But saying there isn't a law which applies, which prevents Palestinians from applying in all cases. There are some cases and so on, but surely they need this. So much for his humanitarianism. He's a member of Friends of Palestine. Well, ha ha ha. How friendly is that? Leaving them to their gruesome death to die by starvation. Um, and the next one is then he's a friend of Israel at the same time. Are you having a laugh? You're a friend of the ones who are illegally occupying another country, as well as the friend of the victims. You're a friend of those brutalizing others, pursuing these viciously racist policies. I mean, Lammy goes on and on and on about the wickedry of apartheid. Apartheid was a very, very bad thing. I'm glad that it's dead and buried and rotten away and quicklime poured on top and is never, ever, ever coming back, which is a good thing. But then Lammy, in the next breath, will be speaking up for a state which imposes apartheid policies, particularly in the West Bank. There are Jewish-only roads. There are two different legal systems: civil law, a military law, depending on your nationality, and so on. Flagrant racialism, not an access to sort of water for agriculture for Palestinians. They're always economically in the lower tier. There are constant murders of Palestinian civilians by Israeli illegal immigrants who almost always get away with this complete impunity for the Israeli military and the police to brutalize the Palestinians. The Israelis living there, they're reps in the Knesset. The Palestinians have no right to vote in the legislature that controls them. The Palestinian Authority has been stripped of virtually all authority, and so on. And that is the flagrant racialism that Lammy supports. And then, but he'll shriek, racist, 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 when anything doesn't go his way. It really is nauseating the way he makes these bogus accusations of racialism and exploits racialism for his own partisan ends. Goodness. That's it. Surely Palestinians ought to be allowed to apply for asylum in the United Kingdom. You know, most asylum seekers in the UK are bogus. I would kick them out forthwith. I would confiscate any of their wealth. And those who ever got to stay, you'd have to pay back all the costs that were here you incurred whilst you're being looked after. Would put, an extra 1 percentage point on your income tax, something like that, until it's paid off. Okay. Hi there. Like to put your birthday. Oh, when is your birthday? Well, I can't tell you, but it's once a year. You're going to send me a big birthday present? Okay. Donate on Patreon and subscribe on, so George Callahan 79@gmail.com, and subscribe to my channel. If you private message me, Fade on Apollo Noah, I'll tell you when my happy birthday is, and I'm expecting a good present. All right, goodbye, everyone.